I met Mike Watson through a friend, and he was a partner on a deal. That friend and I had done a couple of flips and stuff together, and he said, hey, let's go to this event and check this multifamily stuff out. So came to this and I was like, that's awesome, that's awesome. And so that was the first time I met Mike and even heard about Mike. I think I heard about it a couple days before I showed up at the event. Hanging out with Mike and being a little more involved in the process has shown me, probably first and foremost, that it's a ton of work. Like, he is a hard worker. Like 24/7, he's on the phone, he's talking to employees, talking to sellers, to everything. And that was pretty eye-opening to me, that he's a hustler full time. And when you come to a seminar or something, you see the process laid out and you think, oh, okay, that's like pretty simple, which it is. I do exactly what he says to do, but it's work. Like, you're doing it, like looking up the address. For me, I'm working on finding land, and so it's like 100, 200 properties that you're like trying to go through and find those interested sellers. Mike does what he says he's gonna do. That's another thing I've noticed. Like, he does what he says he's gonna do, and then he holds other people accountable to what they say they're gonna do. And so I try to keep my commitments like that, because otherwise nothing's going to happen. If you're saying you're going to do something and a week later your partners or the city or whatever, and you haven't done your part, there's no progress. But Mike always gets it done. And so I try to carry that into what I do. I've seen Mike in a lot of different relationships. I've seen him with his family, I've seen him with his employees, seen him with his capital partners. He is all about the people. He's really all about the people. I went out to South Carolina with him, and he'd just take the time to chat with us, whether it was like in the hotel or in the van. He'd answer our questions. And we really kept him talking like all day long, just like barraging him with questions. And he always took the time to answer those. And you never really feel like an outsider. You're just like part of the team. You're just there to be with him. And I think that's because people are first for him. Even though the number one thing he talks about is projects. But really, I think the number one thing to him is relationships. So as a member of Regis, I'm in one deal right now, and I honestly got in the first deal that came available. I was super excited to get in a deal. I'm in Hunter's Landing. It was a little nerve-wracking just to get it all. You've heard it all, and he's talked through all the processes, but it is a little nerve-wracking just to like really commit to it. For me, that was actually my first big investment that I've done outside of my own stuff. I've never really lent other people money or partnered with somebody on a big project like this. And so it was a little scary to pull the trigger. But again, I heard him talk about it. I've seen other projects go through. I have, like I said, friends in other projects, and everything is as he says it was going to be. So it was really a no-brainer. And once I did it, I was just like stoked that I did. I was super happy I did it, and everything has gone as he said. We started really close to when he said the project would start. We've done monthly review meetings. Communication is very open. It's not like it suddenly stopped. Sometimes you might expect once the sales process is over, then the salesman kind of disappears or something, or customer service goes away, but definitely not. Like, we're still fully involved. Before I ever got in a deal, I actually found a property, and he was like, Johnny on the spot. We went out and met with the seller. It was not a great deal, and the seller was a little like way overpriced, a bit of a dreamer. But it was, like I said, he was really responsive to that. And then I've been on the phone with him with several questions since then, because I am looking for properties, and he's always been responsive. And it's usually, like he said, send him a text message, he'll set up a phone call, we jump on the phone. I actually lined him up with another friend of mine who became a capital partner in a tranche 2. And same thing, we set up a time to call, we went through the call, did a Zoom meeting. Yeah, it's been great. I guess one thing that I would say about Sumatera in dealing with Mike is just the fact that everything is so thorough. These workbooks that he hands out at the camps, there's all these details in there, and that's real stuff. He's not just like making those for the event. Those are actually real numbers on real projects that he's put together before the project. So when you're investing in or partnering on a project, so much work has already been done. And it's like real data, real information, not just hypothetical. And so that's a big deal for me, is the detail that goes into everything, whether it's a project or communication or an event like this. So much has been done in detail. My involvement going forward, I would love to find a deal with Mike and work on it. I'd love to be the finder. I'd love to be really involved, like hands-on, and again, I feel like I've seen the process from the outside a little bit and a little bit on the inside, but I'd really like to see a project like from start to finish. As the finder, go to all the meetings, work with the city, find out about all the difficulty and the struggle, because sometimes from the outside you just see this finished little package and it's like, here's a property that we can, you know, be capital partners on. It looks so lovely. But then going out of town with him and seeing like all the little things that got it there, I'd like to be a part of that on one project all the way through. And then I'd like to entitle some of my own deals, hopefully, and bring them to Mike and say, hey, here's an entitled project, and then partner on those deals as well.